Welcome to the Chamber Spotlight, a local talk show podcast brought to you by the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce in association with the local scene. We'll be recording on a regular basis and we'll cover many topics that span local businesses, local elections, local town governance, and a citizens' academy. I'm your host, Fraser Townley. Today is December the 15th, 10 days to Christmas.
10 days.
10 days.
Where
And
does
that's
the time
the
go?
voice of State Representative Kathy LaNatra, our guest today. How are you, Kathy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
That's terrific. So before we get into the grubbiness of politics, we're going to go to Town Hall for the town headlines.
Great.
Today is December the 15th. I cannot believe we're 10 days away from Christmas.
I know.
Good grief. I'm here with Andrea Cesarini at Town Hall. Andrea, you have some headlines.
I do. Okay. So this week for public meetings, Housing Authority, Board of Health, and the Zoning Board of Appeals will be meeting today, Monday, December 15th. On the Board of Health's agenda is an appointment with State Rep Kathy LaNatra to discuss Kratom. On the Zoning Board's of Appeals agenda is a continuation of the site or the public hearing for the appeal on the site plan that was approved by our planning board for the proposed battery storage facility on Scoosett Street. The Council on Aging will be meeting Wednesday, December 17th, and our select board will not be meeting this Wednesday. Their next meeting will be Wednesday, January 7th. A reminder that a majority of these meetings are broadcast on the local scene. Meetings can be rewatched at the www.thelocalscene.media/Pembroke/. And some miscellaneous news. So property tax exemptions applications are currently being accepted. For additional information, please contact the assessor's office, 781-293-2393. Veterans tax exemptions are due February 2nd, 2026. All other exemptions are due April 1st. And there's absolutely no exemptions for late applications, so please file accordingly. And still with our assessor's office, they are predicting our property tax bills will be mailed between the week of the 22nd and the 29th. Please be on the lookout for those. The bills will include the due dates. The Pembroke Public Library is hosting their holiday book sale all month long. Buy a holiday-themed item for half off. They have books, games, music, crafts, and bundles. Dog licensing will be open Tuesday, December 23rd for the 2026 licensing period. The town clerk's office will automatically mail all seniors over 70 their free dog tags. If you are over 70 years old and do not automatically receive your tag and registration in January, please contact the town clerk's office at 781-293-7211. We either don't have your date of birth in our dog licensing system or your dog's rabies information is not up to date. We cannot license any dogs that do not have current rabies vaccination information. Dogs must be registered by April 1st to avoid the $15 late fee. Annual street listings or annual census will be hitting homes in January. Households that fail to respond to the annual census by June 1st will result in any registered voters being listed as inactive on the voter registration rolls. Inactive voters are still registered to vote and can still participate in all elections and town meetings, but will need to sign an affidavit of continuous residency when they appear to vote. Households can respond to their street listings online. Please see the town clerk's webpage annual town census form to provide an online response. And another reminder that the May 2026 local election nomination papers will be available January 2nd. For more information on open seats available, please see the town clerk's webpage's 2026 municipal election open seats. And some town hall closures for the holidays. Close at noontime, December 24th. Reopen Monday, December 29th. Close at 1 p.m. New Year's Eve. Reopen Friday, January 2nd. And I believe this is our last meeting before the new year, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I wish everybody a happy holidays, happy New Year's. Everyone stay safe. If anybody has to travel, hopefully no plane delays. Everybody's no traffic, and I hope everybody stays happy and healthy.
Thank you very much, and
awesome.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, well, that was the town headlines. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you again for having me.
Let's hear a little bit about you. What's your bio? If you were doing your bio,
the abridged.
Yes, no, not the abridged. Let's have the full story.
The full story. Gosh, that could take an hour.
You've only got an hour.
We only have an hour. I was brought up in Hanover. I grew up in Hanover, Massachusetts. Funny little fact: I was born in Spain.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, my father was in the service. He was in the Navy, and my brother and I were both born in Rota, Spain. And we grew up in Hanover, attended Hanover schools. lived in Kingston since 2020. I have 4 children. My oldest is 31. My youngest will be 19. 3 boys and a girl. We have 3 dogs and a cat. My husband's a sergeant on the Kingston Police Force. So I'll just a little bit about my background, how I got here. I'm sure that's what everybody wants to know, right? How I got here. So I was a small business owner for many, many years and always involved in the community of Kingston as well as my husband. I was a rec commissioner for like 12 years. I was on CPC. I was one of the founders of the Affordable Housing Trust. Many other things. I was on the Board of Selectmen. I was the vice chair of the Board of Selectmen. And in my second year there, the person sitting in the seat that I'm in now asked me if I would consider running because they were looking to become a town administrator somewhere. Had no desire to run or get into like real politics. And after 7 asks from 7 different people, groups of people, I decided to run. And here I am today. I won that first election, and this is my 4th term that I'm in now.
Oh, wow. Okay. So more than 10 years, or is it 2-year terms?
They're 2-year terms.
Okay.
So at the end of this term, it will be 8 years. I tend to do things on a 10-year cycle. My family was telling me this the other day. I owned a business for 10 years. My career before that was 10 years. I've been a real estate agent, though, forever. So, and we'll see, after I love my job.
So you've got one more term left.
I have to get to my 10-year. I have one more term left, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Very good. So right now, your district. So Ken was explaining. We had Ken on. Ken Sweezy on last week.
I did hear that, yes.
Okay, thank you. So we had Ken on last week, and he was explaining that the districts tend to run north-south, but yours and his run east-west. Yes,
that is interesting. They do tend to run north-south. Well, not all of them. My district consists of 6 towns, so I have all of Kingston, all of Plimpton. I share Halifax with Ken Sweezy. I have a precinct in Pembroke with Ken Sweezy, Rep Sweezy. I have 5 precincts in Plymouth that I share with Rep Badger, and I have 1 precinct in Middleborough that I share with Norm Orrell and Representative Gasky.
So you have several districts where you are sharing with other people. I think Ken only has 1, and that's Pembroke.
And Halifax.
Okay. Okay. So you're Halifax as well?
I am. And I believe he has a portion of Hanson.
Right.
Yes, with someone else. Too. Maybe Dave DeCoste, Rep DeCoste, possibly.
How does that work? Do you think that works? Having
I don't know any different.
Right.
What I do like about it is you kind of, when it comes to earmark time or when you are advocating for someone, you have a partner in like partner in crime, but you have a partner there. You get 2 bites of the apple. So I think it's beneficial for towns to have 2 reps. And when we do split up a town, let's use Pembroke as an example. I have 1 precinct in Pembroke and Ken has the majority. We both work together for the town. So if someone called me from outside of my precinct in Pembroke, I would still help them.
You're not going to say, go away and
exactly.
Speak to Ken.
Ken would do the same thing. So I find it advantageous to have a partner, in a town. You have the Senate, you always have your Senate partner, but it's good to have someone that's used to the House, the way things work in the House.
And the Senate partner would be Dylan Fernandez.
For most of them. For Halifax, it would be Senator Brady, and for Middleborough, it's Senator Dooner.
Oh. So it's quite a fragmented...
It is quite fragmented, yes. Yes.
But it works.
It works. It works. Most of the time it works. Yeah. Yeah.
So last week, and I don't want to keep referring to Ken, but last week he was talking about being on the floor.
Yes.
Your experiences of being on the floor. I noted you're the chairman.
Yes.
1 second.
Of Federal Funding Policy and Accountability.
What exactly does that mean?
It's a newly named committee this session. What we do as a committee is where things are rapidly changing from the federal government. We try to get that information in a timely manner and watch the changes and disseminate that between the House and the Senate so all our members know what's going on so they can let their constituents know what's going on. So we're ahead of we had the shutdown, we had the SNAP issues, and we have those issues. How are we going to deal with that as the Commonwealth? So it encompasses a lot of information, a lot of changing information. We meet with, our hearings have been with local libraries across the Commonwealth, museums, MMA, it's called Mass Municipal Association, people from Boston.
So are these groups that rely on federal funding?
Yes, there's a lot of groups that rely on federal funding.
And was this department introduced because of the change of management
So the committee
at a federal level?
I think they changed the name of the committee because of the new administration, on the federal level.
Right. And how much turmoil is that causing? In fact, I shouldn't have. I'm going to rephrase that question because turmoil makes it sound like there's turmoil.
Right.
But there have been changes at the federal level.
There's been a lot of changes.
And we have had various podcasts where the people that have been affected. So New England Village, for instance.
Yes.
Our biggest
I was just
employer.
at New England Village, now that you just brought that up.
Terrific.
I met the new CEO, Christine. Amazing. We found out we were neighbors as well.
Is that right?
Yes. I was driving through the town of Kingston on the back of a brush truck with Santa. I was accompanying Santa as his missus. And we drove through the town for 8 hours collecting Toys for Tots and things for the food pantry at the Plymouth Area Coalition. And I drove right out of my neighborhood. I said, "Oh, that's Christine." Yes, so I got to see her and her grandson. Yeah. It's such a special place. New England Village is such a special place.
It is indeed. So I sit on their board.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was actually on the committee that elected or selected Christine. And that was a great process, in actual fact. We're very proud of Christine. But we rely heavily on DDS funding.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And so we're constantly monitoring what's actually going on at a federal level because we know things are changing.
Yes.
It hasn't impacted us yet, but you got to brace yourself.
You do, and that's why I had that meeting with them. So I will be out in the community organizations similar to that, or I was on the board of the ARC for a little bit. And how that, and even here, where we are now with the local scene, how that funding is going to be affected. So it's a trickle-down effect. If we're losing federal funds, then we only have so much here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to we can't make up for everything.
You nearly said supplemental there, didn't you?
So, it's...
We're coming on to that.
We're coming on to that. So, there's things that are going to have to be cut, right? There are things that are going to have to be cut.
Don't cut DDS.
No, we can't cut DDS.
We
really can't.
How did that work out, by the way? Because I know there was a lot of food insecurity during the month of November.
Yes.
The government was shut down. The state, the federal government was shut down. And it was beginning to have an impact on SNAP. Do we know, how did the state deal with that from?
The state funded.
They did?
They did. I will say the generosity of people really came out as well. Our food pantries have never been so stocked as they were during that time. And I mean, it's so, I don't know what the word is, but it's amazing to see. And that feeling that you have to see that generosity of, our fellow citizens and our neighbors. And it's heart feeling, you get a good feeling in your heart.
You do. And I know the Firehouse Pantry in Pembroke does a great job.
They do.
I can't remember, but Peg was in, she did a podcast and thousands of pounds of food gets distributed all the time. In the thousands, I think it was 86,000 or something. It was a very big number, a very impressive number. But I know they got a little stressed out during that government shutdown.
We all did.
People, no, I understand.
And we still are,
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of changes that are yet to come that we're monitoring. But food insecurity, it's real. And it's affecting a lot of families that you wouldn't realize that it's affecting. And so you really do need to look up for your neighbors.
I was actually shocked to hear that there's a lot of teachers, first responders that are on SNAP.
And you know who else? A lot of people are on SNAP, so let's go back to New England Village. A lot of the people that work at New England Village.
Precisely.
Right? So,
Precisely. That's what actually, that was one thing that the board was concerned about because the board
that was another reason I was there. Right.
It wasn't just the DDS funding, but how it impacts the employees as well.
Yes.
So,
yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So you were there talking about that.
I was.
Will we see you there tomorrow? Hopefully.
Tomorrow.
Fingers crossed. The Christmas party.
They had the Christmas party at Indian Pond. Didn't they already have the?
No, the Chambers. The Chambers got an event tomorrow.
Oh.
Sorry, we'll take it off.
Okay.
We'll take it offline. Okay, so that's... let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten up and spoken on the floor?
Yes, many times.
You have?
Yes.
Okay. Because Ken was one of only 3 of the 19 freshmen that have gotten up. And I said to him, are there people that are in Congress who have never actually gotten up? And he said, well, there are quite a few. I'll make sure it wasn't you.
No,
good.
Definitely. I was one of the first. So I think he explained when you are a first-time rep, it's called, used to be called your maiden speech. Now it's called something else, inaugural speech or something. So in order to debate on the floor, you need to have done your inaugural speech.
Oh.
So usually what you would like to happen is to get it done as soon as possible, so then you can speak up anytime that you want. So that was I got mine done within my first month, with a lot of pressure from my colleagues, like, just get it done. Mm-hmm. But it's very special to the person when you're a first year rep. Usually you do it on a bill that's really important to you, that's made an impact on your life or on your community. And they're very heartfelt. It's a chance for you to thank everybody that put you in that seat, that voted for you, thank your family for their patience while you're campaigning. So it's a big event. And I think Ken also mentioned it's one of the only times that the entire body will get up and congratulate you. Mm-hmm. It's a great feeling. That happens again when you leave. You do your farewell speech, and that will happen again then. But it's a great event, and Ken did a phenomenal speech, and so he is able to get up whenever he wants and speak.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just get up unless you've had the official inaugural.
Correct. Yes.
Very good. Excellent. Was it nerve-wracking?
It was so long ago. I really didn't have a long time to think about it. A lot of people will put a lot of, not that I don't want to say thought into it. I think mine was like, it was a bill that meant a lot to me. And the woman sitting next to me was actually she's no longer in the House, but she was the chair of Healthcare and Finance. She goes, you should do your inaugural speech on this. I'm like, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. And I just did. I just did it.
Good.
Yeah.
You brought some passion.
I did.
Excellent.
I had a story. It's good when you have a story.
Good. So I've got a lot of topics here.
Sure.
I'm trying to decide how I divide them up because there are things that I want to talk to you about that relate just to Pembroke, but there are also things that I wanted to ask you about. And so I'm going to find a segue here because I've looked at some of the bills that you're currently on. Mm-hmm.
That I filed or that I'm co-sponsoring? Both?
Yeah, let's say both. The first one that struck me was the financial aid for the lobster fishermen.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain there's a lot of lobster fishermen in Pembroke. So that's something.
In Pembroke?
Well, I'm saying it. We're not on the coast. We're not a coastal town.
Right.
But when you drive around, you see a lot of lobster pots in people's backyards. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they're lobster fishermen, and it may not be that it's their profession, but it's something that they do. So what's that bill all about?
Well, because of the federal government, too, they have a longer shutdown. So they're not able to make the income that they used to make in years past because their shutdown, their season has shortened, right, because of federal shutdowns. So this will enable them to get unemployment as well.
So it's nothing to do with overfishing?
With the shutdown?
Yeah.
It's a federal thing, and I believe that that's part of it. What they're going to say is part of it. But if you talk to the lobstermen, they have a different point of view. But years ago, so we have the South Coast, right? The South Shore, and then the North Shore, which is a huge. So I did this with someone from the North Shore because they have a large fishing industry and lobster industry. And we just find that our families are struggling, and this is a lost profession, right? A lot of it used to be a family business where your father was a fisherman or a lobsterman, and the daughters or the sons went into the same profession, and now they're not because they can't. It's not sustainable to raise a family. So this is just to give a little help and assistance.
Very
we don't
good.
want to lose that industry. It's one of the oldest industries in the Commonwealth.
Everyone talks about Maine lobsters, but it's New England lobster.
No,
I mean,
it's New England.
New
It's not
England.
even just lobstering, right? It's also our oyster farms, our fishermen. I mean, it's such a big community,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we want to keep it, right?
Of
We want to
course.
keep that community. We don't want to lose our fishing industry or our lobster industry.
Absolutely. Any? It's off on a tangent now.
Sure.
Do we have any farming of that stuff, or is it
Oyster
still
farms?
all? Yeah.
Oh, there's plenty.
Really?
We have
So
quite a
it's-
few in Plymouth. We have some in Kingston. When I first started, I represented a little part of Duxbury too, and we all know about the Duxbury oysters. So yeah, it's a thriving, even down to the South Coast.
Cool.
Like Dighton, that area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And is it because we're in the bay, or is it the same? If you're on the Outer Cape, is it just as industrious?
That's a good question. I'm trying to picture. I've not been to any farms on the Outer Cape. Trying to think of the South Coast.
I'm just trying
That's
to
a
think.
good question.
Are we in a particular good area?
We are in
for
a good
this?
area, like Kingston
Right.
Bay,
Yeah.
right? Where Kingston Bay is, that also encompasses Duxbury.
Yeah.
So most of the farms are in that area.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I see you've got a bill to do with video games.
I have a bill to do with video
So,
games.
Yeah.
Is it video games or is
video gaming?
is it slot machines for veterans and veterans organizations?
Yes.
I do.
So it's not
Yes.
video games.
It's not video games.
Okay. It caught my eye and I thought, okay, that's my industry. Maybe we can have a chat about that. But
So this is a very interesting bill. It's a bill that I filed when I first came on with, at the time, Brett Muratori, who I shared Plymouth with. And it was brought to me by the veterans for the VFW in Plymouth. And years past, they had slot machines in their organizations, like the VFWs. And then rules changed and they were no longer allowed to have them. They were illegal. Well, with the revenue from those machines, they were able to sponsor scholarships, put roofs on their buildings. It generated revenue to keep their buildings up and to do things like Legion baseball. These things all cost money. So they really wanted them back because it was a source of revenue for them. It has been voted out of committee favorably. It has passed in the House. It was what held up the HERO Act. So the HERO Act was this amazing veterans bill that we passed, I believe, last session that gave more benefits to veterans. No one takes care of the veterans like we do in Massachusetts. And this just gave them so many more, what am I trying to say here? Benefits, right? So they gave them many more benefits. But the Senate didn't agree with that bill, so it was taken out. So it's back, refiled again. So their logic is that that veterans are considered a vulnerable population and we shouldn't subject them to gambling. Not in those exact words, but that's what I'm getting from it.
are you sure we're not trying to protect the new casinos that we've just allowed in the state?
I mean, but it has nothing to, we're talking like two machines.
I'm being sarcastic when I say that.
But it's like it's two machines. It's like two machines that they've always had in the past, maybe three machines that they've always had in the past.
Yeah.
And we're not talking high bets here, but it was a source of revenue for them. And if you talk to people in the Legions and talk to the veterans there, they're declining, their membership is declining, and they're not able, a lot of them have been closing. They're not able to do the repairs that they need. My husband's a coach for Legion Baseball. They're not sponsoring Legion Baseball anymore because they don't have the funds. They're not able to sponsor scholarships, and they want to be part of the community. So, they came to me with this bill, and we've worked on it every session. So this is our fourth session. It just went through, just had its hearing again in economic development. And this is the first time that we've had people come in opposed to testify in opposition of it. We have not had that in the past. So we will see what happens.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that one.
Thank you.
Mosquito management.
Yes. Yeah.
Are we We read all the time about how West Nile virus and all these other diseases are making their way into the state.
Yes.
If they're not already here. So this is an important bill, I suspect. Is that correct?
It is an important bill, and it was brought to me again from most of bills are brought to when you hear of a bill, it's brought to you from somebody else, right? Somebody has an idea, they meet with you, you talk about it, you vet it, it goes through legal counsel, and this is one of those bills, and it's a very important bill. It is in committee still, and hopefully will be voted out, and then it will go to third reading.
Right. And what does that mean, third reading? Third reading.
So when a bill is voted out of committee, so I think Ken said there's like 7,000 bills that are filed, which is like
that's huge,
ridiculous, right? So again, I say this at every single time that I can. With over 7,000 bills filed, it's very important, if there's something that's important to you, to reach out to your representative, whether it's me or Rep. Sweezy or Senator Fernandez. We need to know that because we don't know all 7,000 bills.
Yeah.
Right. And when we know that's important to you, whether you're in support of it or you're in opposition of it, we can flag it and then we can watch it. So when we know it gets assigned to a committee and they're going to have a hearing, we'll contact you and say, hey, if you're really passionate about this bill, you can come into the State House. I'll sit with you. You can testify on this bill. You can write a letter to the chairman. I'm happy to deliver that for you, or I'm happy to testify for you.
Yeah.
So their voices are heard.
Right, right. And that's the process to the committee.
That's the committee. So then the committee will vote on, after they've heard all the testimony on that bill, they'll vote on that bill, whether it should pass, whether it should not pass, whether it needs some looking into. So that will go to study. They'll look into it more. Sometimes they'll rewrite the bill. And then if it passes out of committee, everyone says it ought to pass, and it goes out of committee. It'll either, depending on the type of bill it is, if it has money attached to it, usually it goes to Ways and Means. If it does not, then it usually goes to third reading.
Right. Okay. Very good. The last one I'm going to talk to you about, because it caught my eye, was the ocean health.
Oh, I filed those with New England Aquarium.
Yeah.
The circular economy.
Yeah.
Yes, keeping things out of our ocean and keeping it in circulation as long as possible.
Right.
I've been a great partner. Well, they've been a great partner, I should say, the New England Aquarium for my past 4 sessions, and we've worked on these bills to keep a clean ocean and keep things in circulation as long as possible and out of our oceans.
Right. I just thought it was an interesting contrast to the plovers.
I did hear that conversation, yes. And I was had a pass, a drive-on pass for many, many years as my children were growing up. And
we did too.
Yes.
We got fed up of paying for them.
Exactly, same thing.
There's a couple of other things that I was fed up about on the beaches, but we won't go into those. Okay, hot topic right now. There is a meeting tonight.
Yes.
I'm not sure if... Are you attending the
That's
hearing?
the battery storage?
Yes. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting. It was all new to me. I talked to Ken, Rep. Sweezy, about it, and there's some bills that were filed, I think, that he went over that I co-sponsored too. I think there needs to be a lot more into it. I was looking...
Are these your notes?
These are I have to have them so I can see them without my glasses.
How about that?
Yes. I have a whole section on that too.
Well, I have a whole section. Yeah. When people bring notes, I read them first and let them... No, I'm joking.
No, these are just the bills that were filed. Rep. Pease has filed some bills to do a moratorium until we find out more.
Yeah.
And what I do know about batteries from my fellow firefighter friends is you can't, if that catches on fire, you can't put it out. Like the electric cars, like those types of things we've talked about in the past. And then I brought this up to them too. And I just think there needs to be more thought into it. I know Carver has the largest one in Massachusetts now, but Pembroke, we're right next to the river there.
Yeah.
It's right where the Knights of Columbus is. Is that what that is?
Yep.
It's right there in Scoosett.
Yep.
I think that's where I have this thing. It's like the art of the pause.
Yeah.
It's like, and I do think we need to pause a minute before we push this through and really do some research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll repeat what I said to the last time this came up. I know that the fire risk isn't as bad as people are imagining.
Oh, that's good to know.
this is part of my industry. I work with Samsung and I work with Apple on when I actually had a product which caught fire. It just combusted. So I actually understand why they were catching fire, but I also understand what has been put into the manufacturing of batteries now that makes that, you can never say impossible, but near impossible. Obviously, you've got more vulnerabilities with a car because it's a moving vehicle.
Correct.
And if that gets into an accident, it's a tricky moment, but it's as tricky as if you had fuel in the car, gasoline in the car. It is true they're harder to put out because it's an electrical fire. But there are new methodologies coming on to...
Well, there's always things evolving, right?
Yeah.
So we're always finding new ways.
And what have you. My biggest concern is the fact that this isn't linked to solar or wind. This is linked to profiteering. And it's profiteering because you're buying cheap and you're selling high. Why aren't the utilities building their own battery farms?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
The state should be compelling because, and the expression I used was, if there's enough fat for a third person, that fat should be going back to the consumer.
To the ratepayers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this doesn't have to do with that, but talking about money going back to the ratepayers, the AG just filed a lawsuit, and there's it was like 42, don't quote me on it, but I don't know why the number 42 million is popping in my head that should be going back to the ratepayers. So the AG is on this because our electric bills are out of sight. I mean, I have solar in my house, and I'm very fortunate that I do, and we're heated by oil. And we did put a heat pump in last year. So I'm good. But I have a lot of seniors in my district. In my district, I have a higher percentage than the average in the Commonwealth and the national average of people over the age of 65. And a lot of those people are on fixed incomes, right? And then all of a sudden, they're getting this bill that's $100, even if it's $50 more, but say it's $100 more. And that's not all for their consumption. Those are those little extra fees, which with all the inflation, I could go on about, my older people all the time, but all the inflation, that's what I worry about most. I worry about the affordability, not only for our younger people to stay here, right, and purchase a house and stay here, and not even purchasing a house, it's staying in that house with that electric bill or with this. And now everybody's they want us to go to heat pumps, right? So that's all electric. But it's that affordability. And when you're on that fixed income, I could go into so many avenues just here with this. Yeah. But I'm even thinking about, this is a federal thing now too. They had I think it was called the SAVE Act for student loans, where their student loans were a certain amount. Well, the federal administration has done away with that. So we have all these young people that had their budget, some that work for me, had a budget. This was what their student loan was going to be. Well, now their student loan went from $300 to $800 a month.
Well, that's a big jump.
So not only is, and then you add in the high electric bills, right, and inflation, but...
And health insurance.
That's
going up.
There's it's just so hard for our younger people. I mean, for everybody, but younger people starting out, and then add in childcare. You want to have a family. Like, childcare is ridiculous. But then we have our older adults, some of them older, that are on fixed incomes, and this is happening. And I'm hearing that at the food pantries that I volunteer for, that the higher percentage of people coming in are elderly. And that's
very sad.
I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, well, listen. I read somewhere recently that there's too many Americans who cannot cope with an unexpected bill of more than $400. More than $400. And you're talking about a $500 hike just in...
Student loans.
Then you got the electricity. The gas prices have stabilized a little bit. No, it's a fact of life, and we've got to navigate it.
Right, we do. But we did have a bill that was going through. It was the affordability bill for electric, and they pulled it because they needed to look at it a little bit more. So I'm hopeful that we're going to take a look at that and do something. I mean, there needs to be some relief. There needs to be some relief. And then when you do that, though, right, this is what happens is when you do that, we also have Roadmap 2050, for clean energy. So you have the advocates on that side, right? And we all want clean energy. Not all of us, but most of us want clean energy.
I think everybody wants clean energy.
Right? And, a place for our children and our grandchildren to grow up. But then you have to look at the other side of, I have all these people that can't afford to stay in their homes. So there's got to be something in the middle. There's got to be something in the middle.
I'll tell you a funny story about how politics can work sometimes. So back in the mid to late, it was like 87.
Mm-hmm.
I was responsible for the purchasing of refrigeration for the UK's largest retailer of electrical goods. And because of that status, because of that position, I was invited by Margaret Thatcher's government to meet with Margaret Thatcher and her group of cronies to come up with how we deal with CFCs in refrigeration. Because CFCs back in 87, CFCs in refrigeration units were allegedly responsible for the hole in the ozone layer, which was allegedly responsible for global warming.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So she wants to eradicate CFCs. She wants the top manufacturers, the top retailers, and the top whatever scientists to come up with a solution how we deal with CFCs. Go away, come back in 6 weeks with a solution. I came back with a solution. It was very radical, but my solution was you double the amount of CFCs used.
Okay. Opposite than what I would think.
If you double the CFCs, this was my argument. If you double the CFCs, you halve the energy costs for running that fridge.
Okay.
At the time, domestic refrigeration was accounted for 20% of all of the power consumption in Britain.
Wow.
Domestic refrigerators. So if you halve the consumption, you reduce the energy by 10%. That surely is a good thing. Now, the average fridge lasts between 15 and 20 years.
That was in 87.
Right.
Right. Now they don't. Do you think they do now?
Well, it depends
Depends where you get it from.
Yeah. I mean, in the old days, they were a metal box with a compressor, an evaporator, and some insulation. There's electronics now which fail, and I understand. Back then, 15 years, let's say 10 years. You had 10 years to come up with a solution for those CFCs. I was thrown out. Well, because it didn't fit the narrative. The narrative was, we have to get rid of CFCs. And here's this idiot coming in here saying, oh, let's double them. But if you actually think about the logic, it was a good approach. But politically, it was the wrong approach. And I have this problem with this green energy 2030, whenever it is.
Yeah.
We have a very, very, very stable and reliable energy source in gasoline. It's been thought about and used and technologically improved for the last 150 years. We are now, Formula One, for instance, Formula One now extracts 65% of the possible energy out of gasoline, and they're now using renewable fuels. So there is an approach that isn't, we have to go electric.
Right, right.
And so I think...
I don't think you can be black or white. Like there needs to be, right? There needs to be that gray area or the middle. I don't know. That's the whole. I feel like we get away from the center. I feel like most people live in the center, right? We live in the. We live
in the real world.
We live in the real world,
yeah.
Or, and then you have these outliers on both sides that make the most noise. When most of us just all want to get along.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's the thing.
No, you're
most of
absolutely
us
right.
want the best for our communities. And I don't think that that's a partisan thing. So Rep Sweezy is a Republican, I'm a Democrat. Norm Oral, Republican, I'm a Democrat. Who else do I share with? A lot of Republicans. But I will tell you, we all want the best for our district, for our towns, for our community, and we work really, really well together. Mm-hmm. It's not like we see on the federal level where we don't speak. I mean, we can debate on the floor. We may not vote the same way on the floor, but we'll still be out at the, there was a bocce tournament we were all at recently. We still have a friendship, really, mm-hmm. because we want the best for our communities and we work really well together to get that.
Yeah, I think, I bang on. The whole point about this podcast was to demystify a lot of things that are mm-hmm. going on and to encourage people to vote. Mm-hmm. We can affect our daily lives because all we care about are the roads, the water, the this, that, right. Everything that we are passionate about mm-hmm. as residents mm-hmm. and as business owners in town are the things that we can affect with the local government.
Yes.
Including yourself mm-hmm. and Ken Sweezy. But we don't come out and vote.
No.
We will for the president, but we
Correct.
don't for, and we don't go to town meetings. Mm-hmm. Our standard for a quorum is ridiculously low.
What is the standard in Pembroke?
150.
Oh, we're only 100 in Kingston.
Out of 100? Mm-hmm. Your population's much bigger than Pembroke, isn't it?
Our Pembroke's, our population's a little under 15,000.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then, because we're 18,000, mm-hmm. so 150. But 150 people, that's less than 1% of the population.
And sometimes it's challenging getting them there.
I know.
Even if they're really big votes. It's interesting. I had a letter from an email from a new constituent. They moved to Kingston and they were surprised we just had an override vote, and it was dismal how many people voted. It was a very close vote, mm-hmm. but it was the amount of people that voted was dismal.
Dismal or disappointing?
Both.
Right.
I was disappointed. And they saw that and they were disappointed and they didn't understand why people where they lived, their whole community came out to vote. They voted think of local elections, right? Well, sometimes they're unopposed. A lot of times they're unopposed, so people don't even bother going to vote. But that's what really affects change where you live, mm-hmm. Are your select boards, are your planning boards, are your ZBAs, are your school committees. And in most towns now have openings. And I think a lot of people don't want to put themselves out there, right?
There's an element of that. But I think, and it's not apathy, but I mean, my neighbors ask me what's happening in town because they know
that I'll
have the answer.
Right.
My response is normally, well, go to the meeting, mm-hmm. read this. But
right. But now the meetings are online too. Not even online, or they're here. You could see it through the local scene.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? So it's easier. Or you could listen to your podcast when you're driving. I mean, driving into Boston takes me some days 2 hours. So I'm a big podcast listener now.
You'll get
so I can
two of our
up.
podcasts.
I can.
Good. Let's not get political.
Sorry.
This is the Chamber of Commerce. Kingston, have you got the MBTA?
We do. MBTA Communities Act.
Right.
We do have we have a station. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have a station. So, is Kingston? So Pembroke doesn't have a station.
They're adjacent.
It's an adjacent. Mm-hmm. But I think didn't we have the same law or rules set upon us by state for housing?
The MBTA Communities Act,
yes.
You did, but you have different parameters than Kingston does with the town that has a station. Okay,
we happen to be. Compliant. Mm-hmm. We didn't acquiesce to anything that we were told. Right. We just happened to be compliant. How's it gone in Kingston?
They passed.
Okay.
Passed, yeah.
There was no...
it was a close vote. I would say it was a close vote. I think it was a 2/3 vote. We needed 2/3. The thing with the MBTA communities is I don't think it was rolled out the best way it could have been rolled out, right? Mm-hmm. It was voted on, 2 sessions ago. I believe it was a unanimous vote, but then it kind of took a life of its own where there were penalties attached that we didn't vote on penalties attached. If you're not compliant, then you can't get A, B, and C. But, you can still get your Chapter 90 and your Chapter 70, but any other grants you're not eligible for. And a lot of municipalities rely on those grants.
Yeah.
And I ran into a few situations, one being in Middleborough, that I was not happy about. And I had a conversation with the LG. People weren't getting back to me. I called the LG directly. We had a conversation. It got a little heated, but she worked with me. She worked with the town manager in Middleborough, and they were able to be in compliance without much of a really big deal. That also happened in Plymouth. Mm-hmm. Plymouth, who should be the poster child of new housing. I mean, they put in so much new housing and apartments and neighborhoods, and they weren't going to be compliant because the land that they were zoning wasn't contiguous. Is that contiguous?
Yeah.
Contiguous. And, again, worked that out.
I'm not sure the land we've chosen.
It doesn't have to be. It just has to be certain parts of it have, like a certain amount has to be.
Okay.
And worked with them because, again, they rely on those grants. And the thing is, what it intended to be was to give local control, right? To give the control to the municipalities. And it just morphed into the perfect storm. It happened to be the time when we had a huge influx of migrants came in, right, mm-hmm. during that year or two. And then, it went into, well, there's going to be housing for them when it really wasn't. So it just turned into the perfect storm. So there's been bills filed. Rep. Sweezy's filed a few. I co-sponsored one of his. I filed one that
I saw.
With a town planner. She's a colleague now. Her name's Kristen Kasner. She represents the North Shore, but she was also a town planner. And her towns felt the same way. Like, this is an unfunded mandate. You're forcing this down our throats, and you're penalizing us for not being able to do it. And we felt that towns should not be penalized. Everybody's working on a deficit budget, and this is now, our fire and our police are not eligible for these grants, and we just didn't think it was fair. So if you were showing that you were producing housing, right? We were in a housing shortage. You're producing housing, whether it's you had a 40B or there's a new neighborhood, you put in a senior housing thing, that you should get credit for that, and you shouldn't be penalized for that.
Yeah.
So that is still in committee. It doesn't abolish it. Like, there's some repeal it, but we've seen with the lawsuits that's not going to go anywhere. We really put a lot of thought into this. We put it through legal counsel. We vetted it. We wanted to put something together that we thought was fair. Knowing that we do have a housing shortage, we really have an affordable housing shortage, but mm-hmm. knowing we have a housing shortage, but not penalizing these towns.
Do you think the ADU law is going to help with some of that?
I do. I do. I'm hoping. This is why I think it will help with that there's a lot of people that are aging in place, right? And they're not opening, so they're not moving because it's so expensive for them to move to something, even though it's smaller. Mm-hmm. Even though they want to downsize, they're still paying a lot of money, and it's not helping their budget situation. But to put an ADU on their children or relatives' land, they're still living independently, they're still aging in place, and it's opening up another home for a family, mm-hmm. right? Also, children that are, have intellectual disabilities or have disabilities, but they want their independence too, right? And they should have their independence.
Yeah.
But if you have they have their independence, but you still have someone right there if they need it, mm-hmm. right? I'm hoping. There's been a few that I've seen go up in Kingston that look fabulous. They had an open house. I wasn't able to make that one, but I do think it will help. I really do.
Yeah. Terrific.
Yeah. But can I just go? This is my concern with not with the ADUs, but I have a concern with, I have a lot of manufactured homes or mobile homes, communities in my district. I have probably 7 of them. And what I'm finding is the insurance companies are dropping them because they think that they are high risk. And what's the difference between an ADU is kind of a manufactured home sometimes too. So I just want to look, that's what I'm looking into right now. I just want to make sure that they can be insured correctly.
Well, I'm not an insurance expert, but I would imagine if you have home insurance, it covers
the ADU.
Whereas
if it's attached, but if it's an individual, a freestanding on your land, I don't know either.
Like
So
I said,
that just came across my desk this morning, and I wanted to look into that. So I'm going to look into that when I.
That's an interesting one. So you brought up immigration as a lot of people's resistance to the additional housing that's been asked. You didn't directly say that, but you mentioned that people were concerned that it was.
I
going
think
to
that
the
was a
influx.
narrative that was out there, right, and people were believing that narrative.
And so we discussed last week how the supplemental bill had come in and it had shifted no more hotels for this population that had come into the state. But now all of a sudden, so we've stopped the hotels, but now we've got
Raft.
the housing, the benefits for have gone up by the same amount of families that came out of the hotels. Is that true?
The same amount of, a lot have self-deported. A lot of these families have self-deported or they've gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'd like to know where they've gone, to be honest. So I did have a hotel. We did have a hotel in Kingston that was filled, and then all of a sudden, where did they all go?
Yeah.
And I'm very good friends with Sue Giovanetti, who runs the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless, who was also oversaw that hotel in Kingston. And I have a lot of, we actually have a meeting next week. I have a lot of questions.
So we just stopped, the state just said no more, let's stop this?
Well, the governor put parameters. So she put, you could only be there for a certain amount of time, right? So I believe it was 6 months. Could have, I don't know the time, I can't remember the time frame. Could have been less than that. And I will say that some of the families that I was able to meet when they first came wound up getting, because when it first happened, we tried to speed up working papers, and there were a lot of small businesses in town that really had a staff shortage where these could fill that need for our small businesses. And they were working double shifts. They were working, and they were able to pay first, last, and security in an apartment. If that apartment is in Kingston, I don't know. I don't know where those apartments are, where they moved to. Large Haitian population. So there's a large Haitian population in Brockton. Maybe some went to Brockton. I'm not really sure. But we don't have the students anymore that we had.
I remember that was one of the concerns we had at New England Village, that there was a change in status for some Haitian immigrants that had caused them to go from being eligible to work to being not eligible to work. And it created this big hole in the healthcare community.
It's a huge hole, and I could go down this rabbit hole just to say that is, I'm sure you know Chris White, good friend, right? Chris White is going to lose 100 employees. Yeah. Because of this new.
Yes. Exactly.
And
so although we didn't get hit, we had to be aware of the fact that the pool of employees was reducing because of that. Yes.
And it's already we've already had a staff being on the board of the ARC. I already know this, right?
Yeah.
That there is a staffing shortage to begin with, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
now to pull this, and this is what keeps me up at night, right? This is what keeps me up at night is most of our CNAs that take care of our elderly population or our people with disabilities are from Haitian descent.
Yeah.
They're warm, caring people. They love their job. There's not other people coming into this position, right? I have, like I said, out of my 6 communities, they all have a higher percentage for people over 65 than the national average. Then, 2030, not far away, right?
Yeah.
It's 4 years away. That's even going to go higher. We don't have people to take care of our elderly or our people with disabilities. I'm meeting with DMH actually next week too about our homes, our group homes, where these people thrive. I have a friend whose son is in a group home in Hanson, and he is thriving. Well, if we don't have the people to work at those homes, then they're going to have to close these homes.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
Yeah.
Right? And then the parents are aging. Like their parents are aging. So it's like, this is what keeps me up at night. This is what keeps me up at night. I'm worried about our people that are older.
Yeah.
That We're not going to have people in assisted living or nursing homes to take care of them, and if they don't have family. And I do meet a lot of seniors that have no family and are people with disabilities that are living an independent life in these homes. Like Road to Responsibility homes are amazing. I've been to Work Inc. I've been to Road to Responsibility homes, New England Village, right? That's an amazing, special place.
Yep.
If we don't have the people to take care of our most vulnerable, then what happens? What happens there?
What does it say about us as a society?
I don't know. And this is what keeps me up at night.
It's a very deep one. That.
It is. Another time.
So, listen, we had some shocking news yesterday
We did.
from Australia, but closer to home, Brown University.
My son attends Suffolk in Boston, but he loves Providence College.
Uh-huh.
But he plays baseball, and they don't have a baseball team.
Okay.
So didn't even apply there, but his best friend goes there, and he's there almost every weekend because he's off season right now. He's not training right now. And loves Providence.
Right.
And Browns in Providence. Like, it is just such a frightening thing. And then just
I'm taking
the
his
videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very frightening. And then what happened in Australia? And Australia has like the
shocking.
strictest gun laws that
They're about to get stricter.
Yes, they are. They are. Mm-hmm.
Which I don't necessarily feel. I'm not sure abolition is a good way to deal with gun control, because certain people, certain criminals, they're going to get hold of guns.
They are. They are.
So, say, well, we don't allow guns, so there'll be no...
No, that's not true. There's always a way. Right?
And on top of that, the violence, the knife violence and the physical violence in London, which is off the charts compared to anywhere around here, that's comes from the fact that people feel that there's no, well, it's people assume you're vulnerable because they think you can't defend yourself. Whereas if you don't know if you're carrying a gun, you're not going to make that assumption.
I guess I could see that, yeah.
So is it time, given what happened yesterday, is it time for stricter laws? Or do you feel the laws that we've got are strict enough? Because I know what's happening right now is we put in stricter laws and now they're looking to repeal.
They are looking to repeal, yeah. So the gun bill, what was that, last session or the session before?
It was the last
last session?
Yeah.
It was the last session. So I did not vote for that gun. I did not vote for the gun bill, and I'll tell you why I didn't. First of all, I had many emails. I'm someone that has my license to carry. Everyone in my family has their license to carry. My husband's in law enforcement, like I said. But I do believe that if you have a gun, it should be registered. We register our cars. Right? No one complains about that.
Sure.
Then I think we should register our guns.
Don't we register our guns?
We do, but that was more, they were getting more strict with that. So I feel that we have the strictest gun laws in the United States, in the country. And I feel that people should be looking to us to change their laws.
Right.
Right? I think they should be looking to us. That being said, we all know, well, not we all, but some of us know there's people that have guns that probably shouldn't have guns. Right? And that's a frightening thing. So I do like the process where you have to be interviewed by the chief of police. Like, I like that process to get your license to carry or to get your FID card. I don't think that needs to change. I think people need to be vetted.
100%.
They do need to be vetted. But I don't think, we're going to go back to which is so different, right? Like, you have something and then all of a sudden you're going to be taken away. Like, you have a right and it's going to be taken away. I don't believe in that.
No. Neither do I. So what is it about the law that's been pushed in? And I believe it was rushed in.
That was one of the reasons, right?
But what is it about that law that you don't like?
I will say...
Other than the principle of...
Well, the principle too. And I will say, this is when your constituents reach out to you. And I had I don't have the numbers in front of me, but against that bill was over 1,000 emails. In support of that bill, I got 2.
So you did the right thing and you voted the way your constituents want you to vote.
That's what I was voted to do. I wasn't just voted in to represent one side, right? It's everybody. And that's why I
think that's terrific. I really think that's terrific.
But I will say that is one of the reasons, if something's important to you, you need to let me know, because I got a lot of backlash about that afterwards. Like people that just assumed I was going to vote the way that they thought, but never reached out to me. So that was the same with police reform. I did not vote for police reform either. And I had so many emails against, right? Hardly any in support.
I think the clue is in your title, representative. You're representing, and I think that's terrific. I really do.
Well, you try to do the right thing. It doesn't always happen. You're always going to have your haters, right?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But too often, people have their own ideology. They're elected because of their ideology, and then they don't represent. But you're representing, so I think that's amazing.
Nothing gets done, right? Nothing gets done if everybody has and they're not willing to bend or compromise. Then nothing gets done, and that's what we're seeing on the federal level.
That's certainly what we're seeing on the federal level.
Right.
I mean, it's just
what
ridiculous.
happened to the art of compromise, or coming together for the good of the? I don't know. It's frustrating, but
I don't know about compromise. I'm a little bit of an Ayn Rand when it comes to compromise, but I do agree with working together. I do agree with communication. I do agree. I love when you hear someone like Bill Maher or Charlie Kirk. Those two people, I know they're opposing,
right?
But they spoke to everybody who would speak to them.
Yes.
And I think that's truly amazing. Blocking other people because you don't agree with them is entirely wrong, in my opinion. Kathy, I know you're on a tight time frame, so I'm going to ask you.
Sure.
You've got a lot of notes there. Is there anything on your notes that you wanted to bring up?
And they're very large. Have you noticed that?
I have.
I do 20 points. Is that what it is? And my staff knows that too, because I don't always have my glasses on me. You'll notice.
You've got your glasses here, but you're too vain. But there's no camera. It's not too vain.
I just didn't want you to hear that. No, I think this is just bills that we filed.
Yeah.
That have passed.
Is there anything that you wanted to share with the residents and the business people of Pembroke that you think is pertinent?
Business people, Open Door.
This is the Chamber of Commerce speaking.
Yes, you've had the Open Door. Someone's come to from the state for Open Door. I just did it with the Plymouth Area Chamber.
You need to remind me. They may have gone to Peter.
Okay, I will talk to Peter later today because we have our daily call.
There you go.
And if not,
he says hi, by the way.
Oh, of course he does. We'll Open Door, great programs for small businesses all together for grants for them. I also brought someone down to Plymouth too with the Plymouth Foundation.
Oh, I'm so stupid. Yes, we know all about the Open Door.
Okay, good.
Yes,
You're
we
not
shared.
Stupid, but yes.
So it was either you or your assistant or Dylan's assistant wrote to us.
It was Chris.
Okay.
Yes.
And we shared that with everybody because there's a deadline coming up tomorrow, I think it is, isn't it?
Tomorrow's the 16th?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, we have. My apologies.
Okay. Because I want to make sure our small businesses have as much as they need, right?
For sure.
We want them to survive. They're the backbone of my district.
Absolutely.
And I want them to succeed and thrive.
So we were approached and we sent out a constant contact to all of our...
Excellent. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
But just for Pembroke, specifically, we were able to get some money for the Children's Library, which is kind of exciting.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah. And then just to go into education a lot, which, a lot of towns are looking at overriding the 2.5 override, and a lot of it is from school budgets.
Yeah.
But what we did do in the budget is now we're $150 per pupil minimum aid. When I first started, it was $60.
Oh.
So that was an amendment that we put in, and we have $150 per pupil. So that's going to make a little bit of a difference with our school budgets. We're going to take a look at Chapter 70, which we really need to.
Yeah.
There was a huge increase this budget, too, for Chapter 90 for our roads and bridges, which will be helpful. So we understand that towns they're in crisis, too, right? Mm-hmm. We all are. So looking at ways to empower our towns to have more money to make the necessary improvements that they need to make.
Cool. Very good. So I never like to close a podcast without you having the opportunity. Was there anything you wanted to say that you haven't had the opportunity to say?
Well, I would love to wish everyone happy holidays.
Terrific.
And looking forward to 2026. Just want to, again, stress if there's something out there that's important to you, please reach out to your representative, whether it's me or whoever that is, and let them know, because it's important to us if it's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find all of us. You just have to Google our names. You'll find our email addresses, our websites, everything online, and feel free to contact. Never not contact us.
Yeah.
We want to listen to you. We want to hear you. So please reach out.
For sure. Well, I always think the sign of a good conversation is how quickly it goes. We've rattled through an hour.
Wow, that went really quickly.
Yeah, it did. So I want to thank you, Kathy, for spending your time, and I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. This podcast will be available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, with additional links to our Facebook page. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce. And if you're interested in becoming a member of the Chamber, please go to the Pembroke Chamber of Commerce website, pembrokechamber.org. This is our last podcast for 2025.
Wow.
You are our 23rd podcast.
23rd.
And it's the last one where the studio's closing down for the Christmas and New Year. So for everyone who has tuned in and anyone who's about to tune in, Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Yes. Kathy LaNatra, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here.
Appreciate it.